All right, everybody, welcome to the inaugural edition. And I went to a whole lot of schools, so they told me inaugural means kind of like the first one, the first ever Sharp Angles Syndicate podcast. We've wanted to do this for a while since we launched SAS back in late December, and now here we are in May. So we finally got our act together and said, you know what, we'll get everybody together in one place. We'll sit around, we'll talk a little Sharp Angles Syndicate, we'll talk sports wagering with you, some of our philosophies, why we're here, and what exactly we're trying to put together. So we're glad you're watching this one. We can't wait to hear your feedback. We're easy to get a hold of, obviously, on Twitter, and you can hit us on the website, Sharp Angle Syndicate. Me, I'm Ryan Hyatt. I'm just the host. In no way, form, or fashion am I a sports handicapper, nor do I wish to be, nor do you wish me to be. However, I've read numerous books and watched a lot of TV, so I feel very qualified to be hanging out with my guys today. Steve Bruni, Shrimp Cocktail. You might remember Steve from the original One More podcast that basically got banned, I think is the best way we can put it. And we're not allowed to talk about it anymore. He highly involved, one of our lead guys here at the Sharp Angle Syndicate. Steve, how you doing this beautiful? I guess today is Thursday as we sit down and record, right?
Yes, sir. Glad to be back on the podcast scene. It's been a
And
while. It's been a while.
and it's a rarity. We got him to actually turn on one of the lights in his house so you can see him. So it's not Marlon Brando at the end of Apocalypse Now. You guys know our next man from Notebook Wagering Podcast, among other things. You see his best bet featured on Sharp Angle Syndicate. He's Smitty Bucks. Everybody calls him Smitty. So glad that you decided to be a part of this venture with us. It's been really cool getting to know you, watch you guys at the Sharp Angle Syndicate. How are things there in the wilds of Pennsylvania today?
No, Virginia, Northern Virginia.
I'm sorry. I always say Pennsylvania is
okay.
Virginia. Yeah.
Well, I'm grew up in. You never leave Pennsylvania. If you were, you raised there, you're still Pennsylvanian. So don't worry about it. No, everything's great, guys.
Steelers. It's all the Steelers stuff you got behind you that's throwing me off.
I need to kind of flip it a little bit more, and you'd even see more Steeler stuff. Yeah, where I have two daughters, and they were, you better cheer for the Steelers, or you're not in the family anymore. And that's how I was kind of brought into it too. So everything, but no, guys, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on tonight and being a part of this. I'm really passionate about this. I think we're doing great things, and we're trying to win some people some money. So that's what it's all about. So thanks for having me on.
Steve, it's been an interesting ride watching all of this come together. You and I started talking about this back in 2022, late summer, early fall. And we've watched the rise of legalized sports betting, the space, that is being created within the media, the great people at VEASAN and stuff like that. And Steve, our conversations begin, what can we do to leverage the knowledge, and particularly not me, but guys like you, Steve, who've been around this business for decades, Smitty, an emerging superstar in the world of sports wagering. And for you, Steve, what made you want to do something like this? Because it ain't easy waking up every day and putting together what you guys do with Sharp Angle Syndicate. Why did you want to do it?
Well, Ryan, I just wanted to create a service that was affordable to everybody, not just the high rollers. Most of these services want to charge people $300 for, a week, or $900 for a month. And, that's just not affordable for guys that bet 30 and 50 a game. We're very affordable. I feel like we're bringing people a lot of experience that we've had. I've got tons of bought lessons in this business. I've been gambling on sports since I'm 16 years old. I'm 41. I've seen it all. I'm not, I've literally pretty much seen it all. It's just nothing in this business surprises me. I want to be able to, help the newer guys coming in, the guys that have been doing it a while. We still have something to offer you. We're trying our best to get you guys winners. We use systems that we've had that are tried and tested. There's just a lot of angles that the average Joe just doesn't know, and we have a lot of information, and we want to make it affordable and give it to the newcomers, the guys that are just getting involved in a sports betting since it's become legal in pretty much, I think, 40 states now. So most people have a casino within 100 miles of where they live now, where they can get action. And, we just want to help those guys that are coming into the game, that they really don't know, that maybe they thought they did, and then they realize a month or two down the road, this isn't easy. This isn't as easy as we thought it was. So that's where we come in. We want to make it as easy as you thought it was, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, there's a lot of services out there that make guarantees that are just not realistic. I mean, anybody that's going to tell you they're going to win over 60%, that's total bullshit. It's just, we want to stay in that 55 to 60%. That's our goal. If you can hit that range, you're going to make money, and we're going to make our subscribers money, and that's where we want to be. And that's what, we've pretty much hit that mark so far since we've been doing this, I think.
Yeah, so far so good. The month to a date coming into this week, 25 and 22 after a rough slog early. May is where dreams go to die as the NBA playoffs get underway and Major League Baseball starts to sort itself out. But year to date, coming in to this week, 217, 178, and 8. That's a pretty salty number. And everybody wants to go, okay, well, can you keep doing it? Well, that's why I say Sharp Angle Syndicate may be new, but what we're doing here is not new. Like you said, Steve, you've been working on this for decades. Smitty, same thing. You're a younger guy than myself, who is massively old. Not Brent Musburger old, massively old. But for you, Smitty, coming up through the ranks, what was it that intrigued you that made you want to go from just hanging out with your buddies and making a few bets to really understanding the nature of sports wagering? Whether we are talking analytics, whether we are talking generating your own lines, capping, all that. What was the impetus for you to want to do something beyond just, all right, yeah, $5 on Georgetown, whatever?
Well, I think overall is meeting people and talking to people like Stevie and yourself and Greg Peterson, and having these people that come on our show with Notebook Wagering and getting to know them, and then you kind of study them, and then you're having a contact with them that you can maybe DM them or even get their number and text, and you kind of get these, to know these guys a little bit, and you get some information. And I think, again, the biggest thing is you learn. You take advice, and I've had some great people, man. I've had some really good people that have taught me many trends and many numbers and how to look at things. And I think the other big thing is don't get too confident, because I said this last night on our show. We had Will Hill on last night on our show, and you can go one night, you can go like 5-1, and you're feeling really great. And the next night you can go like 1-4, and it can turn back. And I said, in a way, in this business, I think you kind of have to have that mindset that you are a closer in baseball, because you want your closer in baseball. You're going to save maybe 10 games, but then you might blow one game or two. You got to have a quick mindset to get back out there on the mound the next day and just kind of back and kind of get winners. So there's been times that I've panicked a little bit, given like going on a 2-game losing streak, and then you're like, this isn't good. And then you bounce back and you kind of just stay in your system. And I think that's a big thing. Stay in yourself, believe in what you're doing. And again, take advice. I think that's the smartest thing I'd say to anybody is trust the people that you trust. I mean, I work on lines, I work on numbers, but I listen to other people. I look at some of there's a lot of free stuff that you can kind of build. But then, with us, it's good to trust some people. And like Stevie said, are you going to trust people they want $900, $800? We have such great discounts here that it's a steal. I say it all the time when I do short little Twitter videos or anything like that. I think it is a steal. We're making a lot of money because our numbers are fantastic. But take advice, listen to the right people, and trust the right people. And, the people you should trust is right now on the screen.
Hey, Steve, I want to hit on something right there that Smitty was talking about as far as processing information. And as you've grown up around this industry, we've gone from getting Baseball Weekly, once a week, USA Today, watching the late night sports shows. Then the internet comes along, and now you can get an email, you can get updated. How do you sift through all the voluminous amounts of information that we have available now? The incredible analytical breakdowns that you can pay for, subscribe to, or otherwise. A lot of it is free now. How do you personally, Steve, avoid paralysis by analysis in winnowing out the information you need to apply it to your skill set and what you already know and value philosophically as a sports bettor?
Well, Ryan, I'm a little different in the way I handicap. You know, I'm not a big analytics guy and numbers guy. And I mean, I take notice of, you know, obvious things, of course, pitchers, records, ERAs, you know, head-to-head matchups, things like that. But I don't like get into things too deep with the numbers because too much information is bad. And you know, the old saying goes, study long, study wrong. And I believe that. You know, I think you got to try to simplify things and pretty much stick to what you know has worked over the years. And you know, I've been through millions of systems. You know, some systems lasted 2 weeks and they were great. Some lasted 2 months and they were great. Some lasted over a year and they were great. But you know, in this business, there's so much change. You know, it's like nothing stays the same. So you have to kind of evolve. You know, with systems and things. But you know, I use a lot of I get a lot of information on betting percentages and things like that. And that's not so strong in baseball because baseball is not a high volume sport. So I don't really put a lot of stock into betting percentages per se with baseball. But in football and any sports in the playoffs, that weighs heavily. Volume and betting percentages weigh heavily into my handicapping. I mean, because let's face it, the house doesn't lose much when the money's big, and we try to stay on the side of the house, and we pretty much know what they're going to need when the numbers come out. So it's you got to beat the number, and you pretty much. I mean, I can tell you 9 out of 10 times who the house is going to need in most games. You know, so and that's an advantage to us. But I mean, there's other things that we look at as well. But that weighs heavily into my handicapping. You know, I mean, I don't always go against the public, but 80% of the time we're going to be on the other side of the public. You know, and that's just how I play. I mean, I'm a contrarian bettor. I've always been that way. I mean, I think it comes from my days in the past as a bookmaker. I mean, I've always needed the other side. I mean, that taught me so much being a bookmaker for 20 years. I mean, it really did. I mean, but you know, now with everything legal, that's you know, nobody calls local bookies anymore. But I mean, when I was younger, I did it for a long time, and you know, so but you really learn a lot when you're on the other side, and and believe me, that's big. You know, that in fact, you know, Jimmy Vaccaro is one of the guys that I respect the most because he's been around forever, and I would recommend any sports bettor new in the game to read his book. He wrote a book years ago. It's about, I don't know, 18, 20 pages. And I tell you what, those 18 or 20 pages taught me a lot about sports betting. And one of the most important things in that book that I remember to this day, and I'm going to say this to the average bettor, if you have problems going on in your life, whether it be financial, marital, any kind of personal issues that your mind is wrapped around, do not gamble. That's like rule 101.
Yes.
That's and I always tell people that, you know, when you have issues going on, you're not going to win at this. It's impossible. So you definitely need to try to keep a clear head when you start gambling, especially if you're betting any kind of money.
Yeah, like Jimmy says, it's a tough racket, kid. Come on in.
No doubt.
Smitty, information management for you. You've come of age in hyperinformation via internet and otherwise. All of this at your fingertips. How do you go from, 10 o'clock tonight to 7 a.m. the next day, baseball best bet? How do you winnow that down? What's your quick process on that?
Well, it's usually right down. I'm a scores and odds guy. I like going on scores and odds. And I kind of write down everything. I'm a notebook guy. I mean, that's kind of what notebook wagering. I'm a notebook guy. I have a notebook with me all the time. And then I'm also one of my other jobs is being a teacher. So I have index cards, and I have index cards everywhere in my house. I have sticky notes all through my house. Now, my wife kind of gets upset with that all over the place because it's everywhere. You can go into every room and I have information down. I have notes. I have trends. I'm a math guy. That's one of my favorite subjects to teach is numbers. So I kind of like that. So I usually start writing stuff down by 10:30, quarter to 11, getting that. And then getting up, I get up early, with my job. And even in the summer months, I get up really early. And I just start trying to see where the trend's going a little bit. And then again, the one great thing is, again, like I said earlier, is talking to people, man. Stevie's talking to me. I got the guys at Notebook Wagering, man. They're going back and forth. They're starting to talk about, what they're seeing for tomorrow. So we just start kind of breaking it down. I have some great people I trust on Twitter. I kind of talk to them sometimes, or even like see what they're thinking. And then again, I go with my gut at times. I'm getting better with looking at the numbers where it's going a little bit, but sometimes you got to stick with your gut. If you feel like, and then I'm a big pitcher guy. I look to who's pitching and everything like that. And then I kind of like the, home record, away record, righty, lefty, who's pitching, how do they hit against that? So a lot of things kind of go into my, how I break things down. And then the best bet, I like playing. I've been told many times I play too many games, but I kind of manage my bets, how much I put on one thing.
Right.
I can go 1-4, but if I hit my best bet, I'm making money. So, and that's just me. And some people have said, don't do that. And that's fine. I like the advice because I take advice from people that have been in this a little bit longer than me. But then I kind of like doing that. And I like going in all different kind of angles in sports with different sports. But that's how I kind of break it down. And then I just lock into a game. And that's what I did. Like today, I just thought it was a great spot for Tampa today against Toronto. Toronto's sliding a little bit.
Cool.
Starting pitcher for Toronto has not been good this year. Was really good last year, but has not pitched extremely well this year. Tampa is going to come back, I think, to a little bit of reality here, a little bit. Their bullpen's not the greatest. They might even tax that bullpen here very soon as the summer goes here. But I thought it was a great spot today. And I also played the team runs over 4.5, and they got there. So that was two winners for me in that Tampa game today.
Steve, that kind of gets into a little bit of some of our philosophies here at Sharp Angle Syndicate. I've had some folks go, man, you guys sometimes only issue like 2 or 3 plays in a day. What are you doing? I'm like, well, you don't have to bet 15, 20 games every single day. It's called bankroll management. You guys, I think, are incredibly disciplined in what you issue to our subscribers.
Yeah, I mean, look, anybody that tries to play the volume game and play 10, 20 games a day, they're going to get massacred. I mean, there's some guys, the syndicate guys and stuff, some professional bettors that hunt I call it hunting numbers, and they'll fire the volume because they're getting the best of a number, half a point, 5 cents, 10 cents, and they feel like over time they're going to grind it out. But that's just a tough way to, it's just very time consuming, and it's a tough living. It really is. The way we're doing it, we're pretty much trying to confine it down to our best bet every day and 1 or 2 plays and send it. If I was buying something, I would want the best. I wouldn't want an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion. We're trying to give people a good, solid play that we have some type of information or a strong angle or something. We're not trying to guess. And some days we may not have a play, because if I don't see anything, if I'm not betting my money, I'm not putting it out there. And that's the one thing that I said when I created this. Whatever I put out there, you can bet. I'm betting.
Yep. Unlike
90% of these services who, talk about this and that, and a lot of the guys that work for them don't bet a quarter. That's not. I can't endorse somebody that's not going to, bet their own money. There's some good guys in the industry. I'm not knocking them all, but there's a lot of scumbags in this industry. And that's why we wanted to create this, because we want to be different. And that's what we're trying to do,
Different and as transparent as possible. And we've got a few more minutes left hanging out with Smitty and Steve today on the inaugural Sharp Angle Syndicate podcast. If you were meeting somebody, I'll start with you, Smitty, and they're thinking, man, I'm going to dip my toes into this. It's legal here where I live. I want to do some more sports betting. I want to take it to the next level. What are you going to tell them? Hey, this is the biggest mistake you're going to make right off the bat. Don't do this.
Well, I think you're going to be smart. And if you're going to bet, like I said, when I go in with you guys, that's my game. I mean, that's my game. That makes my entire day. Everything else is a little bit more. Just be smart. I think, again, coming into it, take advice, trust people that you trust. Again, we're the people that you should trust, I think. I know what we put into it and the hours and the effort we're putting into it right now. Don't go crazy. Just be smart. Dip into it a little bit. Try to find what you like. I mean, again, this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be fun a little bit, isn't it? I mean, when you're not winning, it's not fun. I mean, it's not fun at all. But even if you go on a cold streak, if you're being smart and you're being a good money management kind of person, then it's okay. I think Stevie just said, from what Jimmy said, is if you have some issues in your life and you can't do this, then don't do it at all, and just be smart about it. We're not saying you don't have to throw $1,000 on here. Find where you feel comfortable and go with it. Because again, this is supposed to be fun. This has brought so much joy to my life and opportunities, and getting to meet people like you two and other people. Again, having a show and having Will Hill in, and last night talking about gambling and info, that's fun. And that's what it's supposed to be. And, again, the guys that I do notebook wagering with, they all gamble, but they're responsible. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just being smart and finding the sport that you want to gamble and go for it. Because some people like baseball, some people like football, some people like college basketball. So find your niche a little bit and have fun with it.
What about you, Steve? What would you tell somebody who's just getting involved?
Two things. One thing is, from a handicapping perspective, is never overreact to what you've last seen with a team. Because an old school guy told me many years ago, son, no team is as good or as bad as they looked in the previous game. And a lot of people overreact to blowouts, and look at Boston, the 2 games ago, they looked absolutely horrible against Miami. Just looked like they put them to sleep, took their heart from them, and then Boston comes back and wins by 20. I mean, so people overreacted to what they saw in that game, and they thought Miami was just going to show up and sweep them, and it was going to be good night, Irene. So that's just an example of what I want to say. What I touched on with that. Don't overreact to what you've last seen. The second thing is, do not chase in this business. When you get stuck and you have a bad run, do not chase. That is what casinos and sports books are built on. People making their largest wagers when their mind is not thinking the clearest. And that is the one thing I would tell. And it's very easy to fall into the trap, because everybody wants to get their money back. And a lot of people want to get it back before they go to sleep tonight. And you just have to have a lot of patience in this game and stay the course. And, at the beginning, most guys just play football. I mean, I would say 70% of sports bettors just bet football. And, a guy told me that you should set a bankroll at the beginning of football season, whatever it's going to be, 1,000, 10,000, 50,000, whatever, however much you bet. And you should never bet more than 3% of your bankroll on any game. No game is that strong where you should wager more than 3% of your bankroll on it. And, I think that's pretty good advice.
Absolutely. All right. So we're recording this on Thursday. So you guys, when you're watching it, understand that from this question that I'm phrasing for the guys, do we like anything this weekend? Is there anything upcoming? We kind of operate on the side in a 24-hour cycle. Don't issue a lot of futures. That's something we can talk about on the podcast in future episodes as futures. But for our day-to-day, anything you guys want to throw out, pay attention to, that you're looking forward to this weekend?
I'll say this, and they've been flashing that teams have never that go down 0-3 or 0-150 to win the series, to come back and win the series. Well, they keep flashing it, and I keep saying, if Boston wins tonight, it might happen. You may see the first team that ever went down 3-0 come back and win the series. That would not surprise me. I'm not saying go out and bet it. I'm just saying that's food for thought. Boston could still win this series.
Larry Bird ain't walking through that door, I'm telling you right now. Well, he might, but he'd kind of be bent over and anything. What about you, Smitty? Anything this weekend you're really looking forward to?
Well, no, I'm a Celtics fan, so it's been tough watching this. A great win. I was on Boston money line last game, so that was a good win. I did play. The line, it was high. I think the Celtics going to win. I've been trying to kind of glance at what the score is and everything as we're doing this. I played a little Robert Williams over 10.5 tonight. I put on Twitter points and rebounds. Just didn't want to lay anything with the spread or anything, and I just have a little bit of action on that because he's been playing really well here. But I agree. We talked about this last night on our show with Will, and Will was really into that too, saying, they get this one tonight, then they got to go back to Miami. You got a lot of pressure. And if they get that one, man, Miami's really feeling the pressure to come back because, like Stevie just threw out those numbers, that it hasn't happened, and that's going to be. So keep an eye on the Celtics over the weekend here. No, I'll be diving in after we do the show here tonight. I'll start doing some of the baseball lines, and what I just said a couple of minutes ago. What I start doing is start breaking down, looking at starting pitchers and everything like that, and some of the trends and everything, and just trying to find a good spot to give out another winner tomorrow. That's what I'm trying to do for all our customers here at the site.
All right, you guys are the best. Be sure and check out Smitty, their Notebook Wagering podcast. Subscribe where you subscribe. You can get a hold of Steve through the website, Sharp Angle Syndicate. I'm easy to find at Ryan Hyatt Media on Twitter all the time. Oh, thoroughly enjoyed this. We're going to do more of this for you guys, and we'll delve into different subjects and, maybe some more immediate topical things. But we just wanted to get this first one out, tell you guys a little bit about who we are, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. So for everybody involved, check us out. Tell your friends about us. It's the Sharp Angle Syndicate. We think we're a little different. We think we're pretty decent at this too. We'll see you guys next time.